I believe in a law of attraction, and I have many stories to back my belief up. And there are some minor things that I accomplished that way, but also some, for me, really big things. And one of the things is, uh, I was one day I drove home from work, and I passed this big building with lots of big companies in it. And when I passed the building, uh, that was a moment that a lot of people came out. They all had finished their working day, and so there were like hundreds of people coming out of the building. And I saw one person that I knew, that I met her on a wedding party or something. And so that's why it stuck with me. And I also had the feeling that all these people had sort of a nonchalance over them. Like they came out of the building, but they were sure that they would return the day after. And I had a bit of a bumpy start on the labor market. And so I was really intrigued by that sight and that feeling. And I made a promise to myself that one day I would work in that building and I would leave the building knowing that I would come back the day after. And so a dream started. And then a couple of months, I think, later, um, my sister Hilde and me, we lived together at that moment. And she landed a job um, in a big multinational company. And the things she told me about it made me really fall in love with that company. They had a philosophy of lifelong learning. And I'm talking about 25, 30 years back. So that was really novel at that time. And the things she told, the chances she got, made me really want to work for that particular company because you guessed it already, I think, that company was based in the building that I wanted to work in. So now I had my goals even more narrowed down. Not only I wanted to work in that particular building, but I knew which company in that building I wanted to work with or for. And so I noted down my goal in my journal, and I started documenting my journal, my journey. Whoa! And so uh, there were uh, little steps I took and big steps I took. Of course, I applied for some jobs. That's really obvious. But sometimes I was feeling that I had the feeling that um, the steps that I took brought me closer to my dream. And sometimes some of the things that happened were like, oh my God, what does this mean? So, for instance, I finally landed a job with the company I wanted, but it was a job in Brussels. It wasn't a totally different city, so it wasn't in the building I wanted to work in. But I still wanted to have the job because I thought the company was awesome. And then so they called me like, can you come in 2 days or something to sign your contract? And then the day after, I got a phone call from the same lady, and she told me, I am so sorry, but we have a hire stop, so we can't hire you. I'm so sorry, we don't have a job for you. So, and instead of thinking like, okay, now everything is screwed and I won't get a job in my dream company or in my dream building, I didn't see it as a stopping point. I saw it as a distraction, and I thought like, okay, so maybe this step will not bring me closer to my dreams. And I know what my dream is, and I'm really clear about my dream. And so I I just continued, and then there was a big step uh, in the in the direction of my goal, and that was that I landed a job in another company in the same building. So I already was in the building, and the funny thing is that they had a cafeteria, um, and so a lot of the people in the from the building, from the different companies, gather together after work sometimes, and so you started talking, and of course, um, my sister was there a lot of the time as well, so I knew a lot of people from the company that I wanted to work in already, and they all voted for me, and they all helped me with little steps, or they told me like, oh, maybe there's a job vacancy over there, and I can talk to this and this person. So everybody pitched in, everybody helped me to accomplish my dream. And then I finally landed my dream job in my dream company, in my dream building. And it wasn't at all the way I imagined it would come about, you know? So I stepped into this contractor's company uh, to find me a job. And they told me to go to one of the desks, and when I came there, I saw that I think there was 6 or 7 people that were all waiting to be serviced by that person at that desk. And so I started looking around, and on the right there was a guy behind the desk, and he saw me looking around, and he said, can I help you maybe? So I told him that I came for a job. And so we talked a little while, and he said, I do have a job. It's for a big company, but they are a bit picky. Uh, we already sent a couple of people there, and after a week or maybe 2 weeks, they let us know that uh, they're not satisfied with the person we sent. So it's a risk. It's not an easy task. The job is easy, but maybe the people you have to work with, well, they are a bit picky. So, and I asked him, what company is this? And so, of course, it was my dream company. So I said yes, and I went to a an interview, and 2 days later, bam, I landed my dream job in my dream company, in my dream building. And since then, I guess I didn't, I worked 13 years for that company, and it was the best time of my professional life so far. We got to do all sorts of things, and we were cherished and uh, awarded for the actions we took and the risks we took and stuff like that. So I learned a lot in that company. What I didn't learn was how to manifest my dreams and how to make the law of attraction work. And it is only years later that I defined the things that I missed in the dreams that I wanted to accomplish afterwards. And I thought I followed the same methodology, but I didn't, because the very first thing you have to be clear of is, what is your goal? What exactly is your goal? And it has to be so crystal clear that you can see it in front of you. And for me, it was going into that building and coming out of that building with that nonchalance of, I work in the greatest building in town for the greatest company in town, and I know that I can come back here tomorrow and do my thing. And that is exactly what I did for those 13 years. And I think with the goals that I wanted to accomplish later on, I wasn't this crystal clear. I had a broad idea of where I wanted to go, but you have to really narrow it down and make it so clear that you can picture what is going to happen in your mind, and you can see you entering or leaving a building, or you can see yourself being handed an award, or hand an award yourself to somebody else, or things like that. But the most important thing is be crystal clear about what you want.